Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider from Nola Motorsports Park in Avondale. And it's time for our Legend of the Game segment. And we're honored to be joined by a Jesuit Blue Jay legend who went on to stardom in college and is now a major leaguer. Johnny Giavotella of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim joining us. And Johnny, thanks so much for taking the time out for PRI today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, guys. It's a pleasure.
Johnny, I know you're going up to camp in just a little bit. I went to St. Matthew Apostle, Jesuit, UNO, New Orleans. But you played two sports at Jesuit, football and baseball. How did that help you, and how was that balancing your time, Johnny?
Well, growing up, I played all three sports, baseball, basketball, and football. When I got to high school, I was a little bit too small to play basketball, so I just stuck to football and baseball. And I think it helped me a lot. I think it created a little bit of balance in my life, just so I wasn't playing one sport all year long. And I definitely advocate playing multiple sports because it creates a little bit of athleticism about yourself and teaches your body to react in different ways. And I just love football growing up, so I continue to play it through high school.
Your versatility was a key to your success on the high school level, at least. In baseball, you were a jack of all trades. Talk about the different positions you played and how that was key to help the Blue Jays have success on the diamond.
Yeah, well, it didn't really matter where I played. As long as I was in the lineup, I had a good chance of helping the team win. And growing up, my dad always stressed hitting. You know, if you could hit, they'll find a spot for you to play. And when I was a freshman, I played left field. When I was a sophomore, junior, I played center field, and then when I was a senior, I pitched and played second base. So the more versatility you give a manager and a coach, the better off you're going to be.
We're going to get into the Angels in a little bit, Johnny, but if you were going through the process right now, there's a lot of males and females watching this who are going through the process recruiting. What would you be looking for? Would it be a location? Would it be the best baseball program? Education? What's the factors for you'd be looking for right now?
Well, I think it differs from individual to individual, but for me it was about playing time. I wanted to go somewhere I was going to play right away, somewhere where I get the most experience right away, and I didn't want to sit the bench. I didn't want a red shirt. I wanted to go in, help the team win, and that's why I chose UNO.
You've always had to prove yourself, Johnny, and I think it's safe to say you were under-recruited coming out of high school.
Yeah.
During the process, did you feel like you were being slighted a bit, and how did that motivate you moving forward?
I've always been slighted because of my size. I've always been told that I couldn't do things and kind of, flown on the radar because I wasn't always the biggest guy. But once I got to UNO, it was just a matter of proving that I could play, and I proved that pretty early on and started as a freshman.
You were drafted second round by the Royals in 2008, but it wasn't really until you were traded to the Angels that really everything took off. I mean, you went to the minor leagues and played at Zephyr Field a few times with the Royals. But Johnny, when you went to the Angels, everything kind of fit. Mike Scioscia, special manager, you got a great team around you, but first start with this organization. How different is it, Angels from the Royals organization?
It's different in a way that I don't have as close relationships as I do with the Angels as I did with the Royals. When I first got drafted by the Royals, I made friends right away, and it was the same friends that I grew up with in the whole organization, the same guys that are playing with the Royals now winning World Series. So it's cool to see those guys really make themselves known on the national stage and do well in the last couple of years. But for me, going with the Angels was a big step for my career, just in terms of playing time, in terms of establishing myself as a big leaguer. And I was able to do that this past season, and hopefully I continue to do it in the next couple of seasons.
This past season was huge for you because there was an opening at second base, and you were following in the footsteps of, at one point, Howie Kendrick was there, an outstanding player. So they were looking for production, and you were able to step up and even battle through injury to be key down the stretch when the Angels were making a push for the playoffs. And you got some big hits in the last couple weeks of the season.
Yeah, well, establishing yourself in the big leagues is all about opportunity, and I had a good opportunity with the Angels. I was able to prove myself as an everyday player and get a bunch of at-bats. So the more at-bats you get, the more comfortable you get, and the more you're able to kind of settle down and be yourself. And with the Royals, I didn't really get as big of an output as far as at-bats and as far as allowing people to see what I could do. So I think once I got to the Angels, I was able to settle down and really play to where I was capable of playing.
You know, you don't have a lot of size, but you got a lot of pop in your bat. You're second behind Mike Trout in triples with 4 last year in batting average and on-pace percentage. So you do very, very well defensively, but how do you explain the success you've had at the plate?
For me, I just go up there and I compete. I have confidence in what I could do, and it doesn't matter who's up there pitching. I believe that I'll be able to hit you, and I've always had that kind of mentality that always mano a mano when I step in the box. I'm going to get the best of you. And it's paid off.
You'll be playing defensively with what many consider the best defensive shortstop in the game. The Angels trading for Andrelton Simmons during the offseason. You must be really excited about having the opportunity to play with somebody of his caliber in the field.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm going to miss Eric Ibar at shortstop. He was a big part of how I got to settle down and have confidence in my ability at second base, playing next to him last season. But this season playing with Andrelton Simmons is going to be great. I've heard nothing but good things about him. I've seen what he's capable of doing on the field through highlights and whatnot. So this spring training will be fun to get accustomed to playing with him and seeing what he's all about.
You get called up against Detroit 2014 with the Royals, and you take Max Scherzer deep. That had to be a special moment for you.
Yeah, it's one of my fondest moments in my career. Having my friends and my family there for that opening weekend when I first got called up meant the world to me. And then to hit a home run in my third career game against Max Scherzer was just a cherry on top, and just a moment and a memory that I'll never forget.
You've maintained a close relationship with Jesuit, the baseball program, and the school, as well as UNO. Talk about how that's developed over the years.
Yeah, I'll always stay close to Jesuit just because it was such a big stepping stone in my career. You know, a lot of the lessons, a lot of the you know, steps in the game that I learned at Jesuit, I carry on today. And Dave Morrow, my high school baseball coach, was a big coach in my career. He had a big influence on my development as a man and as a player, and I'll always stay close to Jesuit.
You missed 5 weeks last year, Johnny, with the cranial nerve palsy deal with the double vision. What started that, and how did it just go away? Did you have to take medication, or what happened with that?
No, it was just a weird incident where I just woke up one morning and I had double vision. My vision was all impaired. I felt like my eyes just weren't seeing clearly, and I went to the hospital right away. It was a really scary moment, and they told me I had this cranial issue and it was just going to repair itself. So it lasted about a month, and it was able to relieve itself, and I came back to play.
Being a big leaguer now, Johnny, to say that you've made it, that doesn't mean it's over. The competition continues. Somebody's always gunning for your spot. Heading into 2016 for a team that hopes to contend, what are your goals and what have you been working on to improve as a player?
Well, baseball is such a tough business. There's always guys gunning for your position, so it's just a matter of staying on top of your game, having confidence in what you could do, and keep working, keep preparing to be the best that you could be. You know, you can only control so much, so you prepare and you play the best of your ability and let everything else just kind of fall into place. I'm happy with where I'm at now. I'm happy with what I've accomplished in my career, but you always have to set higher goals for yourself, and you know, I'm just going to keep progressing and keep trying to get as much time to do this as I can.
When you go to camp in a couple of weeks, what will you focus on? Is there something specific? Will it be something as a batter, as a defensive player? What exactly will you focus on, Johnny?
For me, having new shortstop Andrelton Simmons will be important for me to get comfortable with him as a shortstop, with his feeds, getting you know, more camaraderie with him at shortstop and second base. So, you know, once the season starts, we'll be full go. We'll have a lot of chemistry with one another, and it'll be a good combination to be had.
Fondest moments at each level. Let's think back to Jesuit, and then obviously at UNO, taking a team or helping a team reach a couple of NCAA tournaments, and then finally in the major leagues. Which moments stand out the most for you?
Well, for me in high school, I think pitching a state championship game my senior year. I pitched a complete game. We won the state championship game, so it was a big moment in my career. At UNO, we won the Sun Belt Conference championship my sophomore year. It was awesome to see us beat Louisiana Lafayette, who was a powerhouse in the conference. You know, that year and years to come. So that was a huge step in as far as my career and as far as UNO's legacy. And I guess my first big league hit was probably the biggest, my most memorable moment in my major league career.
Albert Pujols, Mike Trout. Having those guys in a lineup is special. It kind of certainly boosts your lineup. But how does it help you as a hitter to have those two power bats in that lineup with you?
Well, first of all, it's just great to come to the ballpark every day and see those guys work, to see that they are human, that, you know, watching them on TV and seeing those guys perform at the level that they perform on. They still struggle. They still have to stay consistent in their work, and whenever things go bad, they have, you know, drills that they fall back on. So it's great to see guys on that caliber still be human, still fail, and still having to make the adjustments necessary to succeed. But to see those guys every day and see what they're capable of doing is awesome. Talking to them, picking their brain about baseball, about hitting, just makes me an even better ball player.
And Johnny, most importantly, when you reach the World Series this year, you'll have box seats for Renee and I?
Yeah, no doubt. You guys are there.
That's incredible.
But anyway, last question in the last 30 seconds or so. Mike Scioscia, he runs a very taut ship, but he's a good guy to work for, isn't he?
Yeah, Mike Scioscia's great. He reminds me of my dad, just an old school, stubborn Italian guy that demands a lot of you. But if you go out there and you work hard and you lay it out on the line, he's not going to have any problems with you. So it's fun to play for him. He lets you go out there and play the game the right way. And he's given me a chance to play in the major league, so I'm very happy, grateful and happy for that.
He's Johnny Giavotella, legend of the game and a major leaguer now, and somebody who's a real inspiration for those coming up the ladder trying to make it in the bigs if they can. We thank him so much for joining us. Johnny, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
We'll be back on Prep Recruiting Insider in a moment from Nola Motorsports Park in Avondale.